Teaside Thursdays are gonna be coming back. It's interesting to me how when we actually start letting go and giving like more space in our lives, I feel like I had much more awareness of what I wanted to bring back in. So welcome back to Teaside Thursday. I took a little hiatus for the past month or so. I shared the reason why in a recent video I did, which talked about my experience with having panic attacks and sort of my road to recovery since has been very layered and complex, but also very simple, in a sense where when I had the panic attacks, I had no other option but to just focus on my body and allowing my mind to calm down enough so that I can physically breathe again. And this past month has really been about letting go of so many things in terms of the beliefs that I was holding, the assumptions that I was holding, but also physically having to drop things so that I could gain a sense of mental well-being again. Before I delve in any further, I want to share what I'm drinking. So if you haven't noticed already, I am in my mom's home, and I don't know whether actually I don't know if this video is going to come out before or after this actually another video that I'm gonna shoot today, which talks a little bit more about this space and the garden areas and the story of my paintings, and also the story of how this place came to be. So it's an interesting one, and if you want to stay tuned to that, then it should be out either before or after this video. So because I'm at my mom's, I get to enjoy this cup of coffee, which I don't normally drink coffee at all. But when I was living with her a couple of years ago, I got into the habit of sometimes drinking coffee because she loves coffee, and drinking coffee has become an association of my memory of her and the time that we spent together. So I really like this coffee because it's not bitter, it's sweet, not too sweet, but sweet enough with a little small hint of bitterness, and it's decaf. So that's what I'm drinking. And if you're tuning in, then let me know below in the comments what you are drinking yourself, because I think drinking a hot drink has become like a little ritual for me to just sit down and slow down and have like a moment of reflection. So I hope that this space that we're creating, but also just you having a little hot drink, bring some peace and well-being and just coziness in your life as well. So, oh, it's so good. This is a type of drink that you savor in a way. For me, like in a little cup like this is perfect. It's not too much, but I just love like savoring coffee. I don't have coffee as much in my life, so either when I'm at my mom's or now every now and then I do make coffee by myself, and it always feels like a little treat whenever my partner and I go traveling somewhere, and that country is known for their coffee. Like for example, we're recently in Tuscany. Italians are meant to be known for drinking a lot of coffee, and so like we wanted to fit in and embrace the local culture, so we went to a cafe and we both drank coffee, and he's the same. If anything, he doesn't really drink any hot drinks at all, so it was a nice treat for us, and coffee always to me feels like a nice treat. So So Teaside Thursdays are gonna be coming back. And I was debating whether or not to bring it back, because from my own experience of actually starting a couple of podcast type things before, the thing about all of this is the consistency. And when I had the panic attacks, I really had to review sort of how I was approaching things and whether things that I do would be sustainable for me. And it's really fascinating because when I had to let go of doing things I love, like I had to let go of going to the gym because it was physically exhausting for me, like mentally and physically exhausting for me. I had to let go of even a few weeks of painting and sketching, and definitely filming and posting, and just my usage of social media. So I had to let go of so many things over 1 month just so that I can just come back to my body. And it's interesting to me how when we actually start letting go and giving like more space in our lives, I feel like I had much more awareness of what I wanted to bring back in. And it was surprising to me that I loved filming and sharing stories, and how much I am really like falling in love with filming the artistic process or talking about art in relation to a human life and the thoughts that I have and the reflections that I have. And it was also very surprising to me that I actually really enjoyed the start of Teaside Thursdays and what that represents. And in a way, like, I think I'm still figuring out how it will take shape, but it feels like in my heart, for me, Teaside Thursdays feel like something I started that was true and genuine. But similar to a lot of things that I begin in my life, I tried out without really sort of thinking much about it and figuring things out as I go. And whilst that's been really helpful for me, I realized also that before I do these Teaside Thursdays, I needed to have a little bit of planning in terms of just thinking about, over the next couple of months, like what topics do I want to touch on, so that whoever is tuning in, if you're tuning into this, that you will be able to get something from it. Giving value, I think, is such a layered and complex and also overused word. So I'm just hoping that me showing up like this, having a cozy little drink and just sitting down and just, reflecting in this way helps you in your life and makes you feel like you're not alone. It's funny to say that because I often find that in the most either like difficult or happiest moments of my life, when someone else shares their story of their hardship or their happy moment, or even just how they got to where they were, not necessarily about careers and whatnot, but more so in terms of just their life in general. For some reason, I always come back from those conversations feeling less alone in the world. And I decided, I guess, in some ways, that if I'm going to share myself on the internet, that I want this corner of this internet to feel a little bit more human and a little bit more of a connection. And that takes time, actually, because I feel like the more I get in touch with myself, the more I realize that things are never black or white, and it's more complex. And I want to be able to talk about more of those complexities, but in a way where it feels human, like we're having a conversation. So I did jot down a few topics that I thought would be really interesting to speak about, because it's personally things that I'm going through currently in my life. and in my art practice, in this journey that I've set out on in building an art studio business. So I will just get my phone and I'm going to share that with you. So this first video was that Teaside is coming back, and it's going to be coming back in November fully, and it's going to be twice a month, so every other week, and it's going to touch on, I guess, like more of like a behind the scenes, because I like to get a little bit more creative with my other videos, as in I want to absorb myself in the painting process, and I want to absorb myself in reflective writing and sharing that in an audio format. So that to me, I think, brings out a side of me that is actually, I've been told, quite deep. So I've decided to embrace that. I've decided to not little myself and try to be someone that I'm not. So those sorts of videos will still continue, and I hope that you will enjoy those kind of videos where it's meant to actually like bring you a sense of peace and well-being too, with some calming music and reflective audio and writing, and just seeing someone make art from the beginning to the end. So that's the type of video that I realized I would want to expand more into making, because when I was having my panic attacks, my partner and I usually watch YouTube videos to like end the day, but because our joint kind of hobby and interest is traveling, I watch a lot of travel YouTubers and travel content. But when it comes to art and creativity, I actually don't end up like spending a lot of time watching it. But something that I realized over the course of last month is the only videos that I was able to kind of watch when I was having difficulty breathing in the evenings were really calm videos that had like beautiful visuals, like expansive landscapes of someone being in Antarctica or being in nature, and having just like a very calm atmosphere where there's calming, peaceful music and someone talking in a reflective tone, but talking very peacefully. And I realized that that is what I would like to bring out more into the world if I am going to continue sharing videos on the internet. Then you know, those are the type of videos that I would like to contribute on this big wide world of the internet, where there are just so many content, and sometimes you feel kind of like a small fish in a big pond, and sometimes it takes time, I think, to kind of try and figure out what you want to share. But anyway, that's what I realized. But then I also noted down subsequent videos that I really wanted to just sit down, have a hot drink, and touch on. So when I started this year, I, you know, had this like sort of cinematic kind of storytelling video about the fact that I quit my job and that, you know, I'm going to pursue my dream, and it felt very energetic and alive because that was what I was feeling. But I don't think I fully shared on a more like personal sense what made me quit my job, because I wanted to have a little bit more of a, because everything, like my old job still felt so close to me, and I wanted to not come from a place of negativity and more from a balanced perspective, and I think I've reached that now. So I think it would be a good video to actually just sit down and share with you why I quit my job to begin with and started to pursue the arts as a career. The second topic that I thought would be useful and also interesting and personal to share, the loneliness that I feel in my life from having like a 180 switch and turning over and starting a new career from scratch, but also how that has really affected my experience with other people and the external world. Because no matter how much of a little creative space that I'm building for myself, when I'm interacting with my family, when I'm in social situations, there are these like not only emotions but experiences that I feel that I would really like to talk about, because I think that's important. There's nothing more to it. I just think it's important. If you see a cat coming through right now, that's one of my mum's cats, and he's just gonna scoot over and he's just gonna make himself cozy. There we go. So back to regular schedule. The next thing that I really want to talk about on a very on a lighter perspective is going to the gym. That has made a huge difference in my life, and I want to touch on this because given my experience with the panic attacks recently and sort of trying to look after my mental health in general, what I also realized from dropping the gym temporarily is how much that has positively impacted my life, and especially in the career, in the arts, well-being has never been a thing that artists have liked to focus on, because I definitely know that my art consumes my mental space, and that seeps out into my day-to-day life, where I sometimes have trouble trying to manage my creative mind, when to allow it to let loose, when to allow it to quiet down for a bit so that it can rest, and so that I can actually take care of this body, this vessel that is allowing me to create, which is so important. And I started the gym consistently this year, and I started training this year, strength training, doing the weights and using machines in the gym and all that sort of stuff this year, because I wanted a little bit more. Well, there were two things. I wanted to have a bit more of this physical well-being. I wanted to feel strong, but also I wanted a space in my life where I had to get out of the house, because I was no longer going to be going out to work in an office. So those are the main reasons why I started. But what brought me back were really interesting experiences, so I would like to share more about that with you. And which one is it now? 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth one is hopefully something that I hope will give you a little bit more context, and also about my current creative experience, which is just like a video, a reflective video, giving you a little bit more of a background about why I'm writing and making art and creating these videos. It's something that I think is going to be something I need to sit down and kind of think on what I do want to say, because it's so, I don't know, I think it'll come out when I talk about it in the video, but I just wanted to really make a video about it as well. And my last one, which is very, very relevant to my experience as an artist in a modern world, utilizing the tools of technology, as someone who actually comes from a history of not using, not being on the internet as much, someone who is actually quite introverted and someone who actually really likes, and like I'm happiest offline and just living life and having conversations with people and having memories where I don't have to share. I really value that, but I've had to sort of change my way of thinking because I wanted to. I actually wanted to utilize, and I was interested in knowing how to learn, to tell stories in this way, to use a camera and learn new skills. I was very much interested. And so I thought it would be really interesting and maybe helpful to share my relationship with social media where, oh, the cat is crossing again. So you might see its legs. Of, yeah, like my experience with being seen and not being seen, sharing online and how that has felt, what it's been like, the things that I've done, and how that has impacted me positively and negatively, my platform preferences, and having offline life and having offline relationships. So yeah, so those are the recent topics that I have put down, that is going to be shared starting from November. So I think these topics particularly are going to be shared in November and December. But yeah, Teaside Thursday is back, and they say that, with every podcast, I think they said a lot of people don't make it through the first, I think, 10 episodes. And to reach even like 100 episode is like a huge milestone. So just like with things currently in my life, I don't know where this is gonna end up, but I just know that in my heart, it feels right. And there is a part of me that's like, oh my God, like, what if I don't have any topics to share about? What if I don't have any topics to talk about that way? But I think things will come. I think as I start sharing and as I continue to be more in touch with myself, I think that will come. So cheers to you and happy Teaside Thursday. And I hope you will join me in these honest, raw conversations. And I'll see you in a future, very recent video. Bye.
I'm hushing the dog on the chain. I'm lining up stones on the edge of the bank. Rally the troops for another refrain. I sing this softly to myself. I sing this softly